with a franchise in one of the teams, and I was talking to the leadership team because we're just reviewing the standards, and I was saying to them, where did they see it fitting into their culture and their development, and where did they see it? And they were talking about equality to the men's game, and I went, I'm going to say something a bit controversial here, because actually I don't think equality exists in the men's game. So how can it exist between men and women? Because not all men are paid the same. So you can't be paid the same if they're bringing in X million pounds to the business and you're only bringing in 2 or 3. But what we can ensure is quality and fairness. And the two are quite different to me. And I think, but what is vital as women's sport rightfully gets the pedestal it deserves is we look at the staffing structure, the support structure to make sure that they are well looked after. But I think where they could be even better looked after than the men is have this dual career thing at the beginning. Because they're going to have that for certain. You're not going to play, female probably football for 10 years and not need another career.
There will be people who will argue that what we're talking about here, what we're perceiving that as a benefit, but there will be people who argue that, they don't get the opportunity to be focused and single-minded and do the only thing that's important to them. So in a way, what we're suggesting is saving them from themselves.
And the one thing I value more than anything else is different opinion. As long as we share, so what do we want? And so if you think about what would I want to see with the women's game, I would like to see full-time professional female athletes from the age of probably somewhere between 18 and 21, so maybe a dual career with university, then a chance to dedicate themselves, but actually that training at that time facilitates another career. And you and I know and you've played professional sports, so you know this better than anyone, there's quite a lot of downtime. You're often in hotels, you're often having to travel on a morning of let's say you're playing an international match. You'll go through the captain's run through the morning. You'll go back to the team hotel. Now, with all due respect, you don't really need to be thinking about the game from 1 o'clock on the Friday afternoon before this. Well, if you do, you're going to not play very well on the Saturday. You've got to have that what I call dial that tones it down a bit. Maybe that's a chance to do a couple of seminars just to use your brain about something else, and it's better to switch off. You'll sleep better at night. And so, if you think of the ability through the internet to do distant learning, I think you can combine both. And I think that's where the women's game can take a big leap forward from, don't just copy what the men did, because a lot of what the men did is wrong.
Learn from it. Let's learn from it.
Let's learn from it, exactly. And don't make the same blooming mistakes. What's the definition of insanity from Einstein? Doing the same process and expecting a different outcome. So don't do it.
Yeah.
And that's where it can be better, and it can be